Folks are dumb where I come from, they ain't had any learning. Still they're happy as can be, doing what comes naturally. You don't have to know how to read or write when you're out with a feller in the pale moonlight. You don't have to look in a book to find what he thinks of the moon or what is on his mind. That comes naturally.
It's just that kind of retrograde philosophy by Ethel Merman out of Irving, Berlin, that sex therapists and other purveyors of personal advice have been fighting for years with astounding success. Advice on all manner of human relations, sexual, emotional, financial, you name it, abounds in radio, television, newspapers, and magazines, as well as the sanctity of the therapist's office.
Few do it better than Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and probably none in so many different formats. A network radio show in 66 markets, a cable TV show shown in 25 million homes, 2 books, her Forum magazine column, a forthcoming home video cassette, even a good sex board game.
Beyond that, says a feature in the lifestyle section of this week's magazine, Dr. Ruth has branched out into commercial product endorsements and a movie role opposite Sigourney Weaver and Gerard Depardieu. Dr. Ruth Incorporated, you might call her. And to tell us more about that ever-expanding world, we have Dr. Ruth Westheimer on the line with us now, and welcome to Newsweek On Air. Let's start with your movie. What kind of role? How did they pick you?
I tell you why they picked me. They picked me because I do speak French, and because I'm short. They were looking for a short person who speaks French.
And they missed Joel Grey.
Because, no, they wanted a woman, because in the excavation, in the movie, they found the skeleton of the first French lady, and she was short, well proportioned. At the end of the movie, it also turns out that she was black, which caused an uproar at the Sorbonne, at the University of Paris. And when I read the script, I thought it was funny, because I was in Paris from 51 to 56 before I came to this country, and I was extremely poor. I don't mean poor spiritually or intellectually, but money-wise, because all of us students at the time were poor. And I thought to come back and to play a rich American lady, the head of my own foundation, that was very funny. In addition, to play a role where I can get excited about that they found a skeleton, so I can tell all of you tall Americans that the first people 2 million years ago, the first French lady was really short and well proportioned.
Well, that sounds good to me. That doesn't mean you're going to be stereotyped as a short sex therapist, does it, Dr. Ruth?
I hope not, but if they do, all they do with humor. And in good spirit is okay with me.
Tell us about the Good Sex board game. Educational as well as recreational, we presume.
Yes. I tell you, I have to laugh when you say, Westheimer Incorporated, because if you had told me a few years ago that I'm going to talk to you Newsweek people, and I'm going to walk back and forth in my office right now, looking at a picture where I am flirting, in quotation marks, with Burt Reynolds, and that a game is coming out in another week called Dr. Ruth's Game of Good Sex, and a cassette, terrific sex, I would have said to you,
you should see a psychiatrist.
yes, and I would have said, but now I'm saying only in America. The reason I'm doing the game and the cassette is because the same reason for the radio and the television program. It really fulfills exactly what I've been saying with my philosophy, that talking and teaching about human sexuality and learning about it is possible if we do it in an entertaining way. And this way, when you play that game, it might end up that you and your wife or your partner might get, if you win, you get into the, what is called, the act. And if it is sexually arousing, great, because then what it does is it fulfills purpose. But the main reason is that there's a lot of good information in it.
It's nice to have a guest who can talk about sex on the radio and know just how far you can go on the radio. You should know in New York you're going to be competing against yourself with this show because we're on at the same time you're on.
That's all right. They told me, and I said that's fine. I like you, Newsweek people. I tell you what is really interesting. On the one hand, I keep up all of my academic affiliations, and I keep my private practice. I'm in my office right now. Because anybody who wants to be in private practice has to work evenings and Saturdays because you cannot just tell your boss that from 3 till 4 I have a therapy appointment. So also I'm never going to give it up because that's where I know what the world looks like. Not from theory and not from the books and not from the academic world.
Dr. Ruth, your game sounds like a game where there are no losers. Let me ask you this. What is the most common problem that people ask you about in person and on the air? And what's your answer to them?
Yeah, I would say in terms of the specific sexual questions, let me just say here in parentheses that I am very concerned about sexual questions within a relationship. But the most important questions are that either a man or a woman not feeling like having sexual relationship with that partner that I see, or a woman not being able to have an orgasm, not to have sexual satisfaction, or a man being what is called premature ejaculator, which means he ejaculates faster than he wants to, or a man with difficulties in obtaining or maintaining an erection. But from those basic questions, the questions are always different. When some people ask me, aren't you bored? I say never. Because, and you will see that even with a game, because the sex therapy questions are so varied. And also what I did on the cassette that I just finished taping, it can't be boring because every person is different.
But your game is a board game, but I guess that's something else, right?
Pardon?
Your game is a board game, but that's not boring.
No.
He's very bad on puns. We have to stop. We have to put him down.
Oh, that's fine. I'm used to that. My husband does that.
You're endorsing typewriters now and condoms. Any special reason for choosing those? And are there some products that you've decided on principle not to promote?
Absolutely. Now, the condom commercial, let me tell you right away that I would love it to be on regular television. And I would have done it for free. If they'd asked me, they wanted to pay me, and of course I took the money. I have learned to enjoy all of the accoutrements of this world, all of these things that come with it.
You're entitled.
I would never endorse the sponge. I would never endorse any product. I would not do a commercial. You see, on the condom commercial, I do not say that particular condom is better than any other. Do you understand?
I see. You're talking about the principle.
Absolutely. I do say that using a condom shows responsibility and love and is an important aspect of sexual activity.
Well, thank you very much. We've been talking with Dr. Ruth Westheimer about the expanding universe of Dr. Ruth, radio, TV, books, cassettes, board games, commercials, the moving, proving once and for all that there is no such thing as too much good sex. Mark, do you generally smoke after an interview like this?
I don't know, Dave. I never look.